Welcome to Dose of Social, your recipe for social media success. I'm Lindsay Mauk,
I'm Kayla Pearlstein.
and this is Dose
Dose
of
of
Social.
social.
So, we are so excited for today's guest. So, today's guest is Anna Tutckaia, VP of Growth Marketing for Manychat. Thank you so much for joining us today, Anna.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to chat with you about all things social.
We are so excited to chat with you as well. So before we dive in, can you share a bit more about your background and your role at Manychat?
Of course. I've been at Manychat forever. And when I say forever, I don't even remember how many years. I think it's 6 or 7 years, and I've been running growth. And when you're thinking about growth, it's pretty much all things of acquiring new users and making sure these users stay in our platform. So that's my role. And again, I've been doing it for the last 6, 7 years, which is very exciting.
And 6 or 7 years is a long time in the tech
Yeah.
space too.
It is. Yeah. And the cool thing about me staying for so long is because we are changing as a company. And the reason why we're changing as a company all the time, every month, every year, is because creator space is changing as we speak. Think about Instagram, think about Facebook, and all other social media channels that were 6, 7 years ago, and where they are now. They're different. Creators are different, and we need to adjust. So it's been a really fun and never dull journey for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. 6 or 7 years ago, creators weren't even called creators, were they?
Exactly. And we started things off with Messenger. So, mainly focusing on small businesses. And it was pretty much something that was on top of the email channel that small businesses and businesses had to communicate with their customers. We came up with the idea that you can do it on the channels where your customers are actually at and not at email, which is Messenger at that time. And then we eventually expanded into WhatsApp and then Instagram. And this year we launched on TikTok. For now, it's only Latin America, but it is expanding to the US very soon. So, again, growing and expanding with the creator industry.
And then, just for our listeners who might not be super familiar with Manychat, can you tell us more about what Manychat does and how it fits into the larger social media landscape today?
Of course, in the nutshell, ManyChat helps creators and small businesses build real one on one connections with their audience on social media at scale. So think about quick social interactions where somebody follows you, comments, DMs you. We translate those interactions to meaningful conversations that drive growth, community, and scale. That's where Manychat. And we also do it for over 2 million creators now across 170 countries. So very global.
That's
Wow.
amazing. So, for those of you listening, you have absolutely experienced Manychat, probably
Mhm.
without even realizing it. I was browsing a recipe the other day from one of my favorite creators, Kristen's Kitchen. And she said, comment recipe to get the recipe. And so you comment the word that they say, and then you automatically get a DM from the creator with a link to that specific recipe. So, and this is just one example. There's lots of different ways that creators are using ManyChat, but I just wanted to give that specific example for those of you who are listening that are thinking, oh, I haven't experienced this before, because you probably have and you just didn't know necessarily the name of the company behind it.
Yeah, and from
Exactly.
my experience with stuff I've done when I've been on there commenting is it's a great way to collect emails. So I'll comment whatever they say to get their AI prompt, and you type in your email, they send it to your DM.
Yeah, we see a lot of creators doing both, like sending out the links. So, for example, think about Stephen Bartlett, the Diary of a CEO podcast. Like every show would be connected to DM where he will send you like the full link, or with your example, Kayla, with generating email, Jenna Kutcher, like she is a very big creator in the digital marketing space. And she drives all the webinars subscriptions this way. Like she will send people to their DM, she will get their emails, and then they will get the link to the podcast. And the cool thing about it, she also follows up with them within it's like 24-hour window. You have this opportunity to ask, hey, did you have a chance to check out this webinar? How did you like it? So it's like not only sending something, but actually building this connection, building this interaction that is all possible to do at scale.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have really found a workaround, especially with Instagram, where you can't actually publish a link on your content, right? So you can't just give someone a link to link out to whatever you're highlighting, but through the automation tools that Manychat provides, the creator can now have that direct one-on-one interaction with his or her audience and send them the link. So kudos to you guys
Exactly.
for developing that type of technology.
Yeah.
That's very exciting. And we're doing it together with Meta. When I'm saying it together, we are official Meta's business partner, which means that all the automations that you are launching is approved by the platforms themselves. I wanted to actually say something about the links. You can't do links directly on Instagram through the post, but you can do them through stories. But the interesting thing that I recommend every listener to test out is test out the views that you see on your stories when you add a link and the views when you don't add a link. The interesting thing is when you add the link, the views drop and they drop by 2 times, 3 times. And the reason why is because Instagram does not want you to go off the platform. They want you to stay in the platform. And that's why they want less people seeing that. And when you're sending them to your DMs, you're keeping that within platforms, which algorithms like, which they boost your content to more followers of yours.
Yeah, that is really a great test. I would encourage everyone listening to this podcast to try that, to post a story with a link and without a link and experience that reach drop for yourselves, because it is true. And this kind of goes to a theme that we were talking about earlier, Anna, before we started recording, with follower counts and what that means in 2025. So a big social media trend right now is it's very hard to grow organically now with your follower count, especially on Instagram, and even harder on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Like negligible on Facebook without a paid budget. Um, so what does that mean for brands and creators in 2025 on social media platforms? Like, why are reach and growth slowing, and what can brands do about it?
You're absolutely right in terms of it's very hard to grow right now on any social media. And the reason why is because there are over 200 million creators on social right now. Like, think about this number, and this number keeps growing every day. And the interesting thing is, even if you already have a big following, it doesn't mean people are seeing your content. And again, like I'm sure every person that is listening right now that they know that it doesn't matter how many followers you have. What matters is how engaged your followers are, right? It's how many people actually uh, interact with content that you post, it how many people are actually share the content that you post with their communities, with their friends, and how many people get into your DMs, because that's where the real conversation happens. So even at Manychat, when we are partnering with influencers to promote our product, very often we're not looking at how many followers they have. We're looking at how many followers are engaging with content that they've got.
Yeah, that's such a good point. We've always told clients, would you rather have 250,000 followers that aren't engaging or purchasing your product, or 250 followers that are doing both? So just because you have X amount of followers doesn't mean that that equates to the amount of sales that you're going to be getting through that.
100%.
So what metrics do you think actually matters now when it comes to influencer growth?
Yeah, as I said, engagement, but not only engagement, but also like the depth of the engagement that you have. It's not like how many people see your content, it's how many people act on your content. So comments, shares, saves, and DMs, all of those metrics are very important, because if people care to talk to you back and share your message, this is the real impact. This means this is your community that you can do whatever you want to do. It like really depends on your goals, why you're on the social media platforms. But you need to build this highly engaged and trustful community.
Yeah, engagement is still king or queen, right? In 2025.
Yeah.
And I think it's getting to be more and more important moving forward with all the AI generated content that is flooding the internet. It's like flooding. I'm not even speaking about all these new social media platforms that are solely built on AI generated content. But even on Instagram, like it's so fast and easy to create it, which means that it's very hard to stand out. And the only way to do that is to creating very authentic content that your eyes can believe in, that it's true. Because how often do you actually see something and there's like, oh my God. But then it's like, oh, is it true? Can I believe that? So if you
Yeah.
believe that it's authentic content, and then you also see that somebody on the other side cares, that you want to interact with it, you want to connect with it, this is gold. And I think it's going to be the trend moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It is hard to identify sometimes what is real and what is AI generated,
Yeah.
especially a lot of these baby images that I see.
Oh my God. They can be creepy. They can be funny too, though. Like, but there was one video that I shared with like some of my girlfriends and my husband. I was like, the baby talking what they really think the first 3 days after being alive in this world.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, cool.
I love it. So, are you seeing certain types of content or certain types of creators who are still finding organic growth? Because we've talked about follower growth slowing, organic growth slowing down. And if you are seeing that amongst the creators that you work with, what are they doing differently?
Creators are still growing, of course. And usually the way where we see growth happens is within the niche audiences. And the way what creators do differently is they really understand who their followers are. Who are they as people? Like, what do they like? What do they don't like? Whom do they follow online? You know, besides yourself, what are their interests? Everything about this personality. And they build content just for them. Again, even if it's for smaller amount of people, but if you're building this real connections for these people, you will see that the results from this content. So that's what we are seeing. I think I even just saw the post from Alex Hermosi, who was talking about one of his students who has only 5,000 followers, but in a very specific niche. I don't remember the niche, and making a lot of money out of this audience just because it's that specific, and they trust this person because it's an expert in the field. They don't need to look anywhere else. And I think that's where like the growth will be happening. It's either with this humongous movie like quality accounts, which also like still happening in the space, or more niche, authentic, talking specifically to you as an audience, engaging type of creators.
Yeah, I used to say the riches are in the niches. So it sounds like that still stands true in 2025. And we talked about this on a previous Dose of Social episode, but the know, like, and trust factor.
Mhm.
Creators that are really able to get someone to know who they are, to like them, and to trust them are the ones who are winning this game
Yeah,
in 2025.
100%.
So, for small business owners that are listening to this episode, how can they compete in this new environment where follower growth isn't everything?
I would say by capturing every moment of interest. Because as we just, spoke, social media is flooded, and the attention span of everybody on social media is tiny. I think it's officially less than a goldfish, which is less than 8 seconds. So it means then when somebody even cares to follow you, when somebody even cares, to comment, to like, or send you a DM, you don't need to let it pass. You need to respond. If you're lucky enough to be there, like on your phone, please take your time and respond to this person like in a very authentic way. Welcome them if they join your social media platform. But if they cannot be there, rely on automation to do it for you. And the cool thing is you can do a really nice combination of both, because you never want your account to be just this robotic account, like with a ton of bots speaking to you. You don't want to do that. You want to be there as well, but you want to be there when you can, because life also happens outside of social media. Just a reminder for some people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, there's nothing more intimate on social media than sliding into someone's DMs, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
having that close communication. Why do you think audiences are gravitating towards these more personal spaces on social media, like the DMs on Instagram, or utilizing the close friends list, or even Substack to some degree?
Yeah, I feel like it's in our human nature. We want to have this real connection. Like, think about us craving this real connection with, our friend, our spouse, right? We want this closeness. And this DMs is as close as you can get to the creator that you follows, that gives you this feeling of, hey, I'm part of their community. Hey, I'm part of their mind space today, because they are there, they're responding. And that's what people want. We want to be part of something that we enjoy.
So, do you think private engagement like these DMs or group chats will eventually replace the traditional comment section as the main place connection happens?
I don't think so. I feel like there's always space for scale and for visibility. And that's where comments are, right? So it's part of, hey, there's a big community. We all comment, we read this comment, we enjoy, and there is no pressure um, to do that. So it's going to be always there. But then DMs is where more intimate conversations are happening. DMs are where your followers can ask some very specific questions that they don't want to do in the comments. And it's there where you can actually bring these conversations to either sales, or to inviting people to your events, or moving them to other platforms of your choice, really depending on your goals.
Yeah, it seems like, at least in today's space, when you're leaving a comment on someone's piece of content, you're, at least if you're, familiar with social media, you're leaving it with the understanding that everyone is going to see this, right? Whereas in the DMs, that's the one-on-one connection that you can have with the creator themselves.
Exactly. Think about the times when, I don't know, maybe it's my times when I used to work with sales teams. A lot of big deals are happening on the phone, right? Like for sales teams, for like even yourself as a creator, I know who have like larger scale products. They want to get like real personal, like one-on-one time with their potential lead, to explain the product, to really get connected, sometimes to even realize and give advice if this product is even for them. So you either do that, or you can do the same thing through DM, or you can do some of it through DM as another layer, and then
Mhm.
getting on the phone or getting on the Zoom, and then, closing the deal.
Yeah, I think they all work together, right? And it
Yeah.
depends on who you are, and what your product is, and what your goals are for social, right? So
Absolutely. Mhm.
So, the idea of automation and authenticity together sounds almost contradictory. How do you define authentic automation?
good one.
Yeah. Authentic automation, I am curious to actually ask you the same question because you're not in the midst of it. Do you know what I mean? And like, I'm a little bit biased, but I feel like it is when technology helps you act human and not robotic. It when it keeps your tone, the warmth, the energy that you have, but it helps you to deliver that at scale. And you have all the options to build it that it feels this way. First of all, it's not always, in fact, like I would say 80% of our creators are not AI powered. And you actually have control to build out these maps where it's like, if your followers say this, respond with this. And this respond you are building. So think, what would you actually respond if this person was sitting next to you in the bar, in the cafe, the coffee shop, like at your house? Like, what would be the tone? I actually do it all the time when I'm writing like marketing copy. I was like, how would I tell to a person sitting next to me in the bar? And it helps like to bring this humanity onto the reading copy. So do the same when you build automation. The second thing is if you're doing it using AI, spend some time to train AI that it actually sounds like you. You know, sometimes you read these emails and you're like, not even a second, this person
Yes.
spent on editing this email. It's a copy paste chat GPT thing. Don't do that.
Yeah.
We're seeing that so much, right? I can't even tell you how many times in the last month I've had someone say, to be honest, ChatGPT wrote that email for me. I'm like, edit, please.
Exactly. It's like 2 extra seconds. And it feels like so nice. And believe me, as somebody whose English is not their first language, when you're receiving my emails, you're receiving them written by ChatGPT and then edited by Grammarly and then another layer of my personality. But then I am doing that to sound like me more, not less. And then finally, the third thing is when you build your automation, either again through this, like that very pre built by yourself or training your AI, always, always, always allow space for you again to jump in and be there when it's needed. So you can set automation that, for example, if it's brand deal, if AI identifies it's a brand deal, it's like send me a text and then you can jump in and talk to them as a person. If it's somebody who has been the most active follower of yours and you want to show up to them as a person, again, same thing, jump in and speak with them in the DMs. So they trust you that it's you, you're there and you care. I actually had a really crazy story myself, like with a creator. His name is Don. I don't remember his last name, sorry, but Don. I was interacting with him with his AI in chat, and he jumps in. He calls me like using video. I didn't even know that you can do it on Instagram. Honestly, it's like FaceTime.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
he's calling me, and I was like, I was not ready, but I answered, and we chatted for 30 minutes. We made this connection. We then like eventually bumped into each other at one of the creator events. And I was like, do you do it with everybody? He's like, sometimes I would do it when I have time. I was like, I'm very curious, like to see who is on the other side when I'm building all of that. I was impressed. I think I keep telling this story and it's like each time when I can because it completely blew my mind. This is such a great example of being both automated and human.
Yeah, I've experienced that too, where I've asked for a link in a comment, right? And then I get in the DMs and then I say something like, "Oh, thanks," or blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden I can tell it's actually the person responding to me because I sense like that change in tone and I'm like, "Oh, hey, like here they are showing up." And I feel like that blend of, and I think talking about this like authentic automation, right? That's the best thing to do, right? Is using automation as a way to help you so you can get back to people quickly and get them the
Hmm.
information that they're looking for, but then layer on your own personality and building that know, like, and trust factor with your audience.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's so cool. I love that story. Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you, Dawn. Last name unknown, but thank you. So, Anna, are there any common mistakes you see when people first start using automation tools like Manychat? And I think we've kind of touched on this a little bit, but are there any things that you could let our audience know, like potential things to avoid when getting started using an automation tool like Manychat?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes is not to use all the potential of ManyChat. Remember when we started this conversation and you brought up an example of creators using ManyChat when it's like, hey, curious about this recipe, DM me the link, and then they're getting the link. So I would say 80% of Instagram creators are using just that. What does it mean? It means that if you are like 20 on top 20% of the creators and you want to learn more and do more, you will be growing faster, building more engaged community, and getting more out of your social media presence. What does it mean even in this example? So if somebody sends you the recipe and you receive this recipe, how cool if in like 30 minutes or 1 hour, you would receive a DM of somebody's asking, like, hey, it's like, did you actually have a chance to test it out? And the answer, yes or no. And if you're answering yes, then it's like, how would you rate it? And then you would rate it. Like, did you have any challenges while making this recipe? So again, it's like building this connection. And if somebody didn't do it, then you can ask why. So all of these things, they deepen the connections. And then the more your followers are involved in these connections, the more likely they actually proceed with the action you want them to proceed next time. So that's just the first example. And I'm not even saying it's like we're launching the feature. It's like when somebody follows you, it's like you should send them a DM. So it's going to be possible. So jump on this 20% of creators, who won't do it. So that's the first mistake. The second mistake we already talked about, like some of the automations sound robotic. So don't do it. Think how would you do it more personal. And I would do the third one is sometimes I would say people try to mask, or creators like to mask automation and really try to show that it's real them on the other side of the DM when it's actually not the case. And I feel like followers can sense it. And the coolest cases is when you can name your automation as like, hey, here is my AI personality, or here's Anna's bot, here is Kayla's bot talking to you right now while I'm doing X. So it's like another layer. You're giving them context. What are you up to now? And then context that this is not you, but you will jump in when it's needed. And now you're, offering this piece of content that people are requesting.
We officially have clones.
Duh.
We have
It's
cloned ourselves.
Exactly. But let's be honest about our clones so people are not guessing, right?
Yes, so true. So true. All right. So, Anna, social media moves very quickly, as we all know. If we were to fast forward 2 years, what do you think the creator landscape looks like? Is it more automation, more private spaces for communication, or is it something we haven't seen yet?
I think nobody really knows, to be quite honest. And all the experts in social media fields that I've listened to or spoken to, and all the podcasts about AI, people say that we can't really understand the speed of change that is happening right now. So I think it's impossible to predict. But if I were to give it a try, I would say, as I already mentioned, it's going to be a mix of a ton of heavy AI generated content that we won't know, like what is AI, what is not AI, AI generated creators or creators, who are like using AI to create their content. and it's going to be hard, to stand out. And it's going to be the smaller niche creators who are very authentic, who will be on that spectrum of, hey, like we aren't using AIs, like we're very honest, we are very us, true selves, with smaller amount of followers, with very engaged communities, um, maybe even communities within, their geolocations where, events are happening again and they're meeting in real lives. That's what I'm seeing. People are craving for that, like real, true connection. This is going to be another spectrum of this layer. But I'm curious. I'm asking myself this question all the times, like being in the space is how is it changing and how do we need to, what do we need to do even to stay on the games, like really very curious, testing out all these tools, testing them out, not blindly, very like mindfully, at our advantage and also at the advantage of our community. And I feel like if we keep thinking about the audience that is on the other side, like it's not the algorithm, it's a person who is, getting ready to go to work, or like doing something, to get distracted, or just curious about the topic. Think about these people that you're building your content for and community with. And I think it will always play out.
That's a pretty good guess.
What do you think? You are in the industry
Yeah,
speaking to so many cool
I
people all the
I
time.
mean, I have seen the AI powered influencer, and I mean, quite honestly, that's scary to me. Like
Mhm.
these AI generated influencers who are not even real people, but look like real people at Coachella and doing all the brand things. So, this blurring of the lines between what's AI and what's real, I think is going to continue to get more confusing, and I hope there's some type of regulation where at some point brands do have to disclose if content is AI generated or not, because I do think that is important going forward.
Yeah, that's a really
I
good
agree
point.
with you 100%. Yeah. People will be still trying to find the ways around it, though, right? Again,
Always.
we're talking global.
Yeah,
It's like global markets. Yeah. But yeah, interesting. We're living in very interesting times. I think this is
very.
the time to be very curious and very on it.
And staying up to date, right? I mean, the industry's
Hmm.
always moved very quickly, but I feel like now I mean, just AI from today from where it was a year ago is just so much better and so much more efficient. So I just think it's going to continue to move at a very rapid speed.
Just a little
Yes.
scary.
Yeah, very scary.
Well, Anna, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. This has been a lot of fun. Where can people connect with you, learn more about what you're doing with Manychat, and learn more about Manychat in general?
In terms of learning more about Manychat, you can go on our website, manychat.com. And I would say don't spend a lot of time on the website. Just go and test it out. We have 14 days free trial. And even then, like for some simple features, you can continue using the product for free. So just go ahead and do it. You'll enjoy it. And you can get connected with me on LinkedIn. Um, if you can say when you connect with me that you are coming from the podcast, I'm promising you we'll get connected and we'll chat.
Love it. Yes, give
Yeah.
dose of social a shout out. We love that. Well, Anna, thank you so much for joining us today. This was so awesome. We
Yeah.
loved having you, loved our conversation, and would love to, yeah, meet up with you at the next Instagram summit.
I would love to. And same here. Thank you so much for having me, Kayla, Lindsay. Really cool conversation. I think we can do it for hours if we could.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Anna, and thank you so much to everyone for listening to Dose of Social. We're out.
Bye.
Bye.
Ends.